Good evening, everyone. It's Sue Peterson from the Michigan District. I want to welcome you all tonight to Voices of Service. We have a great speaker with us this evening, and as we know, it's May 2nd. We couldn't get closer to the beginning of the month than today, since yesterday was a Wednesday. But as we continue our focus on some membership and some leadership, last week we had with us Mike Downs, who talked about the convention in Denver. If you missed that session and you want to go back and watch, if you go to the YouTube page, Voices of Service with Sue Peterson, all of our previous recordings are on there, and you can either listen to them as a podcast or you can watch them. But tonight we have with us Chris Martz, who's the Director of Global Membership and Engagement. Chris is going to talk to us about May being Membership Month and the new things that are going on, and update us on Kiwanis International's new information. If you have questions throughout the evening, if you would either put them in the chat or along the way, raise your hand, use the button to raise your hand, and then we will call on you along the way. And Chris, I'll monitor the chat with us for along the way. And then if something comes up along that way, we'll do it. If not, we'll catch them at the end. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris, our Director of Global Membership and Engagement. Chris, take it away.
Great. Thank you so much, Sue, and happy May Membership Month. As Sue said, it is May 2nd. So I need some participation right away. When you hear May Membership Month, what does May Membership Month mean to you and your club? Feel free to just unmute yourself and let us know.
This is when you need to jump in there and get those members.
Unfortunately, Chris, it means nothing to my club.
Who else? We have a lot of voices on here. What does May Membership Month mean to you and your club?
Chris, I've been using it as a great time for doing some education with the club. I may not get them moving on the addition of members in May, but at least we can get the plans started for the remainder of the year as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As one who is cursed with alliteration in his name, Bradford Bevan Boyd, don't do that to a child. I like to start with March Membership Month and go all the way through May Membership Month.
Because as Brad would say, to do an event in May, you need to start in March. Anyone else? Cheryl?
For our club, South Oakland County Kiwanis, it means more community engagement so that we would have an opportunity to increase our membership.
Mm-hmm. Great. Good PR month. Anyone else?
This is John from Kialmeva. I want to start a specialty club and I want information on that.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you for that. We are going to start and we're going to talk about why May. It has been May Membership Month for so many years. I've been at Kiwanis for, let's see, 15 years, and I was there once before. Sue probably remembers it's been May Membership Month forever. Why May? No one is really sure, but this is my guess. So we hit April 1, the halfway point of the year. And we start having those moments of, oh, we need to do something more for membership. So you have a month or so to plan an event that actually takes place in the month of May. So for your club, that might be an open house. It might be a guest day. If you're doing 2 for 2, you might continue that. You could devote the entire month to inviting guests to everything you do, every meeting, every project, every fundraiser. And then whatever you're doing recruiting wise, you just emphasize it a little bit more in May. Okay. So that's probably for, and I'm just going to take a guess, 25-30% of our clubs. The rest of the 75% May 1st hit and they hear May Membership Month and they have that, I'm going to call it the oh crap moment. Oh, our club is not doing anything for May Membership Month. And May is a perfect time to plan. So that's what we're going to really talk about tonight, because if you've got wonderful things going on in May Membership Month, you know, you're starting to execute those. I would love to hear about those toward the end of the presentation as well. So save those for the end. But what we are going to talk about is planning tonight. And I think May is a great month to really sit down with your club and think about a couple things. First of all, what does the rest of this year look like? Okay, we have until September 30th, and we can still make a huge impact on our membership before September 30th. But also it's a great time to think about what does next year look like, and having that smooth transition between club leadership, club officers, and even membership. We're not going to start something brand new in October. Let's start it now and let's continue it. Let's make it very operational for what we are doing in our clubs. So, you know, basically, if you're doing 2 for 2, you're going to continue it. Maybe May is a time to reassess what you're doing. Maybe you improve upon it, or maybe you're just going to start implementing it. So maybe May is the time that you go check out Kiwanis.org/2for2, find out how to do it, and use the month of May to work through some of the activities that we have for you in the workbook to get your club started on 2 for 2. It's also a great opportunity to plan a club boost. I'm also throwing a lot of things out at you. 2 for 2, club boost, open house, guest day. And you're like, Chris, what are all of these things? We're going to get to that in a moment. So May might be an opportunity for you to start planning for an open house, which sometimes can take 2 months to plan for, or a guest day, which is a scaled down version of an open house. Doesn't take nearly as long to plan, but there still is a process to actually planning the event. And then think about what recruitment events are already in the works. Think about all the events that you have coming up the rest of the year that could be membership events. Do you have that information table at the event? Is your name all over the event? Are you telling people who are at the event what your club does and the impact that your club has on the community and the kids in the community? So think about that. And then something you may have heard before is something called Remember, and we're going to talk about that in a moment because it's a great opportunity post-pandemic to do that. Now, also going back to why May, you also may think, well, maybe May has historically been the month that we bring in the most members. Nope, not true. Actually, if you take October and September out, which are the October's the first, September's the second a month in ads, the next highest recruitment month is March, okay? And that's followed by November and April. Now, that's globally. If I'm talking to someone in the Carolinas, I'm going to tell them that their month is December. For some reason, the Carolinas brings in the most members during the month of December. Each district is a little different, but I just thought you'd be interested to know that globally, March is the month that we have our highest number of new member ads. So we're going to start with the last bullet point that I talked about, and that's the Remember campaign. And I really like this. So it was several years ago that we did a former member survey. So we we distributed an electronic survey to members who had left Kiwanis. Here's what we found. People did not leave Kiwanis because they did not like Kiwanis. People left Kiwanis because life got in the way. The pandemic just accentuated that. Life really got in the way. So we're bringing back something that we actually did during Paul Palazzolo's years as international president. And what's funny is I was already thinking about this before Paul actually became the executive director. So we're on the same page here. But think about all the former members that you have in your club. Think about those people who still live in the community. You may know them personally. You may know that they left your club to take care of someone in their family. They may have left your club because they lost a job, or they had a child, or they had to take care of a grandchild. So many different reasons why life would get in the way. Life has probably changed for them. So now it's time to reconnect with them. How do you do that? Maybe have a former member reunion, host an open house specifically for your former members. Invite them to your gatherings. Little story here. When I was a lieutenant governor, one of our clubs was a club of 11. And so I go to their holiday party, and it was at a very nice restaurant. And I walk in, and there must have been 40 people there. And I looked at the president and I said, "Who are all these people?" And she said, "Oh, they're our former members. They like us. They just come back for the holiday party." And I said, "Have you ever approached them about rejoining the club?" And she's like, "No, we just like having them back." I said, "Well, think about that." And that year, she immediately got 3 people back just by asking them to join again. So it does work. This is also an opportunity to promote satellite membership with former members. And if you don't know about satellite membership, ask someone who does know, or search for it on Kiwanis.org. There is some information about satellite membership. But what I'm calling it now is a way to Kiwanis differently. And so satellite membership may be a group of members of your club who maybe meet once a month if you meet weekly. If you meet over a very nice lunch, maybe they meet at a bar for after dinner drinks. Maybe they do service differently. They host different service projects. It's just a great way to bring in members who may have a different mission, a different interest set, and different projects that they are doing. So look that up and really think about how your club can work with satellite members. And then we've had some great luck with districts starting clubs, especially internet or e-clubs, with former members as the base of the membership. So that's where they start. Now, no Kiwanis club should be exclusive. So it starts with former members, but that club then starts building because those former Kiwanians are inviting their current friends to be members of this new club. So just some things to think about. So I'm so glad that Brad Boyd is on here because I stole this from him. I steal this a lot. Brad has this thing called joining versus belonging, and I absolutely love it. And this really talks about the difference between what joining and belonging is. And I'm going to just highlight some things here. Belonging is all about, the feels. So let's take, you buy a new car. You buy a new car, it has features that you like, okay? That's what you do. But maybe you realize a month later that this car makes your commute so much better. Like you just feel better in the morning. And so that's the benefit of having that car that you purchased. Again, this is the benefit that the member feels by joining Kiwanis. It's also an experience, and that's why it's so important to get members engaged immediately in their club. So when they join, you should already know what their passion is, but make sure that there is something for them in the next 20 to 30 days to really engage with people in your club, not just the meetings. Also, make sure that you are asking new members what their passion is, what type of service projects that they would like to do. They may have a passion that you could incorporate into a current service project, or it may be a service project that you've never thought about before. And you're like, wow, that would really make an impact on the community. So thinking about that. Belonging is emotional. We have all had our aha moments in Kiwanis, those Kiwanis moments that we talk about. So you're going to have that when you have that sense of belonging. And then obviously, belonging lasts a lot longer than just joining. I do want you to know that our average length of membership has gone up in the past couple years. So it used to be 4.7 years, and we said that for many, many years. It is now 6.3 years. That is the average length of membership. So I told my team when we revised the data and we found this out, I said, well, now we need to start programming to the 7-year itch. Because that's really what that is now. And if we can get you over 7 years, then you can be a lifer in Kiwanis. So think about that. Look at all your members who are at that 5.5, 6 year mark, and really make sure that they are engaged and get them over that 7 year mark. So what I really want to talk about tonight is some new resources. So we've got some great things that have just gone up on the web, and I want you to know about them. And we've got a brand new project also for all Kiwanis clubs to do in the world. So first of all, ACE tools. ACE tools are tried and true resources. And when we revise them, we are very careful about revising them. We are not going to just upset the cart in revising these because they work. However, there was some terminology, there were some things that changed post-pandemic that we really felt that we needed to address. So we have some new tools. We have taken away a couple of the ACE tools, but don't worry, they are coming back as resources. We felt like they were more resources than tools. So our ACE tools are going to be the basis, and then we will have resources that actually support our ACE tools. So a lot of you have probably seen this card before, and this is where you have a concern on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, it gives you 1 to 3 tools that address that concern. So the first one says members of your club seem less engaged. So you can start looking at that concern by doing a membership satisfaction survey, club visions, and celebrating success. Those are the 3 tools that you can use to help that concern. Now, some clubs think we want to do the whole thing or most of them. So on the right-hand side of your screen, you will see how we've put these into buckets, basically. So we have 2 tools that start you at where you are now. So when you do a community survey or a membership survey, you're finding out where your club is today. Then when you go to the ACE tool about club vision, you're dreaming. What do you want your club to be, in the next year, the next 5 years, the next 10 years? And then the next 2 tools do what we call analyzing the gap. So the gap is where you are now and where you want to be, and what is it going to take to get there, examining those things. So you see we have 2 tools for that. And then once we examine that, we can plan. So we use the Club Excellence Plan, that Achieving Club Excellence tool, to plan our course to better our club. And then we have 3 tools that we put under the term action, not words, and that is the club scorecard, hosting potential members, and celebrating success. So that is how the progression works of the ACE tools if your club wants to do all or most of the tools. If you're a leader, a lieutenant governor, I hope that you take this information back to your clubs as well, and tell them about the new ACE tools. Again, you can find them at kiwanis.org/ACE tools. I hope most of you have heard about the roster analysis. And this has gone through the 3rd or 4th rendition of this. I'll never forget a couple years ago, former international president, Don Canaday, and I can't remember what year he was president, but he is in his late 80s, and he was going to talk to the new governors, and he brought back probably the first version of the roster analysis. And it was very interesting to read because there were occupations that were no longer in this world. So we quickly made copies of the brand new, or the new at that time roster analysis. But what's really interesting is we could update this every year with new occupations. One statistic I heard is that today's kindergartners, whatever they are doing for their first job has not even been thought of yet. Think about that. Today's kindergartners, their first job is not even a job yet in this world. I mean, that's just amazing to think about. So again, this is just a great way to brainstorm for potential members. You know, a lot of times when we ask members, you know, who should we invite? Who should you invite to Kiwanis? Well, they immediately think of names and they get very stuck on names. Instead, this is a great worksheet where you just look at it, and I'm just going to choose the P's here. Who do I know who's a painter, a pediatrician, a pharmacist? And you just start brainstorming by occupation. And I think that this really helps make your clubs diverse, and it just really gets you thinking outside the people you already know. And I'm just going to tell a little story here. During the pandemic, I was doing a presentation to a club. We pulled up the roster analysis, and I looked down at my paper, and the first thing I saw was plumber. And I was like, who do you know who's a plumber? And someone immediately said, why does our Kiwanis Club need a plumber? I was like, I don't know, let's explore it. So we did. It was 4 or 5 minutes later, and I found out that they did a lot of work for Habitat for Humanity. They were not even making that connection. So when you start really thinking about this and really using this handout for a true brainstorming and not letting things and names get in the way, I think that you're going to thrive on getting a list of potential members for your club. Roster analysis is available on Kiwanis.org/club toolbox. We have a brand new resource. We are really starting to promote, and especially in the last 18 months, and we're going to ramp it up even more, what we call Club Boost. And this is a 6-month process before an event that allows a club to go through a very intense recruiting period. It is very similar to what we do for opening a new club. So we believe that in opening a new club, we get at least 15 new members. So we really are going to challenge clubs that are doing Club Boost. If you're putting this much effort into a Club Boost, then you can get 15 brand new members in your club. And if you follow this checklist, and you're not alone. You have resources in your district. You have your lieutenant governor. You have a district membership coordinator. You have your governor-elect. If you don't know who these people are, just ask. But your lieutenant governor is there for you to start the process and can really help you with a Club Boost. Again, this handout is available on the Club Toolbox site on Kiwanis.org. And it really does take a lot of preparation. It's not overwhelming. It just takes time. So you're looking at 6 months before you're actually going out and you are recruiting people. You're developing those lists, the contact list. You're planning that week. You're training people to make appointments via a phone call. You're training them how they're going to do the appointments when they go out in person. So those are things that you're doing over the course of 6 months. And you're doing this while your Kiwanis Club is functioning, while you're having speakers and you're having meetings. And so there's a lot going on. You're probably going to have a committee, a team of people, but you're going to engage the entire club in this whole Club Boost process. And then finally, 2 for 2. And 2 for 2 has been around now for 2 years. It celebrated its 2-year anniversary in March of this year. I am going to attribute the success of 2 for 2 in that it was one of the first membership initiatives that we did that we got down to the club level immediately. So when we rolled out 2 for 2, every English-speaking club immediately received it in their general mailing. And so I think that that's why it made such an impact. And when I talk about the next thing about our new initiative, we're doing exactly the same thing with it because we now know it works. So what we have found out over the course of 2 for 2, and especially with last year's data, we know that clubs that grew using 2 for 2 grew at a rate of 2 or more times that of a club that grew and did not use 2 for 2. Okay, so 2 or more times better recruitment efforts if you use 2 for 2. Again, we have the 12-page workbook online that you can do. We have several resources. What we did over the past 2 years is every mid-year and every district convention season, we rolled out a new resource for you. The one that you see on the screen is our mid-year resource. 2 for 2 works. Make it work for you. This is about customizing 2 for 2 to work for your club. The other resources online, I said the 12-page guide. That may be a little overwhelming for your club. And that was one of the first things that we found out in the first 6 months was this 12-page workbook is a lot. So we boiled it down into 5 easy steps. And that was our first resource that we rolled out. So that's going to be something, if 2 for 2 is new for your club, you're going to use that to roll out to your club about 2 for 2. And then what we found out from talking to people is that they were really having a difficult time when they would go out and talk to people, talking about paying dues in a membership organization. So we developed a piece called Talking About the Value of Membership. So that's one of the resources. And then we just want to make 2 for 2 fun. So last district convention season, we created Making 2 for 2 Fun. It's making it fun for both the prospective member and also the members who are recruiting in your club. All that information is available at Kiwanis.org/2 for 2. I also love this little chart that you can do with your club, and it really shows how you use, if you use 2 for 2 over the course of the next 3 years, what your membership can be. If you are looking at net membership, you're going to lose members along the way. But a club of 15, 3 years from now can easily be, I'm going to say easily, it does take some work, but 51, a club of 15 can go to 51, really setting their mind and using 2 for 2 and thinking about net membership. So here's the last piece I would like to talk to, and it's our biggest resource that we've rolled out in so many years. It is creating your club's membership plan. If you receive the annual mailing that Kiwanis sends out in your club, if you're a club secretary, you received it. There was an 8-page guide, a workbook, lots of questions that was in that mailing. I am going to put in a link in the chat right now. So those of you sitting at home, if you haven't seen this, you can click on it, or we're going to take a little tour through my slideshow as well. But the purpose of doing this is to start thinking about where, look at that, Gary Graham, I love it. You have it right there at your computer. That's awesome. So we're looking at where we are today, where we've been, the personality of our club, how they want to recruit, and the types of members that you also would be interested in recruiting. So we're going to quickly look through this workbook for any of you who do not have it at your fingertips at home or have not clicked on the link. So I'm just going to go through the pages and then we're going to go through each section. This is broken up into sections, and I should say that these 8 pages are not meant to be completed in one setting. This is an ongoing thing where you can choose a section and start working through it. But first of all, we analyze our club by the numbers, the overall numbers. We examine membership, and I'll get back to all these questions in just a moment. We look at how we want to improve the club experience. That's our ACE tools that we talked about. We then set goals. We figure out how we're going to achieve the goals. We look at membership opportunities. Those are our events that we can market our club. We look at what might be the best tactic for our clubs to use. We look at recognizing members. And then we also talk a little bit about club operations. And then how do you start that conversation with your club? So I'm going to backtrack and I'm going to go through each of the sections that we go through. So the first page of the workbook is your gut reaction. So without doing any research, you may just sit down and think, okay, over the course of the last 5 years, how many members have we added? How many members have we deleted? You may be pleasantly surprised. You may think that you have only lost 5 members when actually you've lost 12 or 15. You may have forgotten about some people that you have lost. So the idea is to do some gut reactions and to really think about it or look at some research. The retention rate, the percentage of people who continue each year with your club, the number of guests who visit your club, the number of members who attend events. You know, are you that 50% club that no matter what, you have 50% of your members doing things? Hopefully it's not less than 50%, but those are just some things to think about. So it's a nice just getting started activity on the front page. And then we go into analyzing your membership a little bit more. What is your current club's membership? When was the last time your club had net positive growth? Hopefully you remember in the near past of a time when you had net positive growth. But the follow-up question to that in the workbook is why? Was it a dynamic person that you had as your club membership chair? Was it some special program that you did? So you think about why that happened the last time. Possibly you can recreate that, or you can do something very similar because you know it works. Looking at your club's demographics, you know, does your club mirror its community? And you know, what do you want your Kiwanis Club to actually look like? And there are several questions that just guide your members through these type of things. The number of people who leave each year and why they left. And I think that, you know, that is really important to analyze. Was it an outside factor, you know, health issues, or was it something that, you know, they just weren't happy about with the club, or, you know, something along those lines. Then we move into the club experience, and we want to improve it. And again, this is where we get into our ACE tools. ACE tools do at least 3 things for you. They improve your operations, they improve your projects, your service projects, your fundraisers, and they also improve your community outreach. So there are several questions that just guide you through those 3 things. But also, if you've used any of the ACE tools before, or ones that you would like to highlight that would be great for you to utilize. Then the next piece is setting the goals. So how would your club like to set a goal as to what new member add goal you'd like to have? And it may be something that is part of just an objective that the club has. So for example, maybe it's tied to an anniversary. Let's say that you're a club of 15 and you're coming up on your 25th anniversary. That's it. That's a great goal. You know, how can we get to 25 or more members before our 25th anniversary? A lot of clubs do those anniversaries. Sometimes it's a huge stretch. I know a club in the Carolinas that went from like, I believe it was like the 30s, low 40s to 100 for their centennial. So you can really have a great stretch goal. But you know, thinking about tying it to some type of anniversary celebration that you're going to have. Is one of your goals to reduce the average age of your club? And so maybe you want to reduce the average age by, let's say, 10 years. Okay. If you're a club that your average age is 61, and we say we need younger members for some reason, and I think this is just human nature, those 61-year-olds go to the 25-year-olds. Instead, we really should be backing up and really thinking 10 years less. So marketing to a 51-year-old, you know, early 50s, and maybe you do that for a year or two, and then you can market to a 41-year-old, you know, and kind of working through that way. Is one of your goals just to diversify your club and make it look more like the community? My first Kiwanis Club, we did a lot of projects for the Burmese refugees, and we gave them what we thought they wanted, because that's what Kiwanis clubs do a lot of times. But once we had someone from that population in our club, they educated us. And we knew that when we fed the Burmese refugees Thanksgiving dinner, they weren't going to eat mashed potatoes. That was just something they were not going to do. So, you know, we came up with a different plan. So those are great moments to really increase the impact on your community when you have people represented in your club who benefit from your club. So think about that. You may, I said the whole 61-year-old thing. You may be a club of 57-year-olds and you say, we like who we are. That's perfectly fine. But I bet that club needs more 57-year-olds. So think about that. You can love the way you are right now, but you probably just need more of that demographic of people. You can also think about increasing your membership by 5, 10, 15, 20, you know, some type of that, or even just, you know, going for doubling your club's membership. And this workbook walks you through how to set those goals. Then the next piece is how are we going to achieve those goals? And this workbook will walk you through a couple questions that kind of that really ask about the personality of your club. When you have guests, are you happy with just them showing up you know, every once in a while and you're just like, yay, we had a guest? Would your club like to have a basically one and done? You want to recruit one time a year on a major basis and be done and maybe have 10 to 15 new members? Or are you more slow and steady? And so these questions are guiding our clubs to which tactic is best for them. Slow and steady, 2 for 2. One and done, club boost or a club open house. So there's some rationale behind all of these questions that we are asking. We also flat out give clubs suggested goals. So I told you about the club boost. We know that if you follow it, you can get 15 new members. 2 for 2, if you know the premise of 2 for 2, you're going to meet 24 prospective members. You are going to hopefully convert 50% of those members, 12. So we know if you do 2 for 2, you can get 12 new members. We've also set goals for open houses, like 10 new members. Guest days should get you 5 to 10 new members. And those clubs that are already doing great things, we don't want to take those things away. They can add 2 for 2. They don't have to. What we're asking them to do is, if they're doing an amazing recruitment program, increase the number of new members. Go for a 20 to 25% improvement rate over their conversion. The next section in the workbook goes over all the opportunities that you have, the occasions that you have to market your club, those community opportunities. They may not even be things you sponsor, but they are just things that you're a part of, that you might have a table or some information, making sure that all of your service projects and fundraisers, again, have your name, have an information table, that you're promoting, your next service project, and then opportunities for membership. So, we just talked about the opportunities by using 2 for 2, Club Boost, open houses, the reconnection of former members, satellite membership we already talked about, and then corporate membership versus individual membership for those careers that are a little bit more transient than others. 2 more sections. Recognition is so important, and we really need our club leaders to recognize members who bring in new members. Honestly, they probably should recognize people who bring in guests to guest days because they're making an effort. So, thinking about those type of things. But we already have a great program in place. It's called the Ruby K Award. I hope all of you know about this. If you don't, there is a page. Actually, if you go to Kiwanis.org/Ruby K Award, you will find all of the information. It is simple. It's a simple order form. It is free. We send you a lapel pin that actually has, a Ruby gem on it. And it's for sponsoring 5 new members, and you get one for each 5. So 5 new members, 10 new members, 15 new members. It's a great recognition piece. What I love about the Ruby K is it's different. It's not blue or gold. And so when someone sees a Kiwanis pin with a red stone, immediately they're like, what is that? And it starts a whole conversation about how you earn this from recruiting, 5 new members or 10 new members. So again, I think it's great that your clubs are doing this. Some of our districts are doing what I'm calling catching up. I know that the Georgia district last year, we ran all the numbers for them, and we sent them, I don't know, probably 100 or more pins to catch all their members up. And that was one of the things that we're doing. So you can do that in your club as well. It's a cumulative award. So I just saw Joe Schwartz's face on the screen. If Joe has never received a Ruby K pin, but yet she has brought in 40 new members over the course of her Kiwanis life, then she can immediately go to that 40-year pin. Okay. So again, very simple order form. Please use the Ruby K. And then we talk a little bit about club operations, which is very, very important. Simple things. Does your club have a membership chair? Does your membership chair attend district training or the CLE training that either the district or Kiwanis International puts on? Does the club have a membership committee, more than just one person working on membership? Does the club board meet monthly, and is that membership chair at the meeting to talk about membership, where they are, next steps, growth strategies? Membership has to be a part of every board meeting. So the last piece of this is what we call start the conversation. So once that membership chair starts to work through the workbook, includes maybe the club officers, the club board, maybe at a meeting, they take one section of the workbook and they work through it as a group. So once they have all of this information, they're really going to decide two things. They're going to decide their goal number and what tactic that they want to use for their club. And now they have to sell it to their club. So that's where starting the conversation comes in. How are they going to excite and engage the club members into these new membership efforts? They need to develop some talking points so that the club knows about the community impact, the things that they should be selling to prospective members. And then most importantly, they have to figure out all of those potential objections that they may have when they're presenting at a club meeting that the club members are going to come up with, and come up with some statements to, kind of ease those concerns or those objections. So that is the plan. And I know it sounds a lot when you actually start working through those 8 pages. But we honestly believe that clubs that do this are really going to be set for the future. Now, a club can do this workbook this month, and they could start implementing these things, in the next 4 or 5 months throughout the year. What we believe most clubs are going to do is they're going to get a good start on this, and then because we always like to start goals on the first of the year. So we really believe that those true goals are going to start on October 1. And we're going to have a great reporting system for these goals. Every club is going to report them. And then all of the lieutenant governors will have access to those reports. So that will be great. And one of the new things I'm really, really excited about is World Reporting Day. And it's tentatively set for April 1, 2025. And it's going to be a day, not sure exactly what it looks like, but it's going to be a day that we want all of our clubs to call in and report how well they're doing on membership. But also, if they're not doing so well, it's an opportunity where they're going to be able to talk to a staff member or a volunteer about how they can improve their experience. So we chose April 1 because it's halfway point. So we hope we do a lot of celebrations, but then we can also help clubs get over the hump for that second half of the year. So we're really excited about that. More information will be coming soon about that. And with that, I know I gave you a lot of information. I'm sure there probably are a lot of questions because I didn't answer everything, I'm sure. So Sue, I have not been looking at the chat at all.
I will do that for you.
Okay.
So a couple of the questions that came out were, was the mailing sent out globally?
It was not sent out physically globally.
Okay.
It was sent out electronically globally. I know all of North America received the printed version, and I feel as if several English-speaking nations also received that, but I don't know what those nations are.
Okay.
For sure.
And then it was sent, you said it was sent to the part of the club's mailing to the, or part of the club's mailing, so it went to the secretaries, correct?
It did. And so if you actually, you can see anyone can see the whole mailing. If you go on to Kiwanis.org and find the secretaries page, each officer has a page, the president has a page for their leadership education, and the secretary page has all of those documents for the mailing.
So it's
There's
not
a lot of great information in there.
A lot of great information, but they send one set to the secretary and the rest of it, it's actually available to everyone else online for that ease. Do you remember if it was mentioned in any Kiwanis email, or did it only go out to the secretaries in their email, or I don't remember.
So the club presidents should have received an email a couple weeks after, basically reminding them that the club secretary did receive the annual mailing. If they hadn't seen it, ask the secretary to, bring it to the club.
Where's that? Yeah, where is it?
Yeah.
Where is it? Let's see here. Okay, sent to club secretaries. We got that answered. We got answered that. Okay. I know that there's a couple other comments in here. There were a couple in Michigan did Boost 2 years ago. And some of our clubs were at least 10 members per new club. or per club that did boosts.
Mhm.
Um,
And we're getting better and better with Boost. You know, it's a relatively new thing. It's been something that we've done for many years, but we just keep improving upon it. And we really came up with this idea of the Boost, and we've solidified some things again with that whole timeline. It's been tested multiple times. Definitely tested by the Michigan district with their successes.
Right.
Other districts have also had huge successes with Boost, so we know it works.
and I think that's something for everyone that's here, that to reach out to other districts. I mean, you don't have to stick to your home district. If you catch up with somebody here tonight and say, well, hey, wait a minute, I hear, what, so and so did. Why don't we reach out to them? You're welcome to reach out to them. I mean, and why not reach out to them? What a better way to connect and see if, they can give you more information or something that they've done that may have worked. It's just one of those things. Somebody called me about corporate members the other day, and I said, well, this is how our club does corporate members, but you really can make that how you want it to work for your club.
Sure. And if I can add one more thing about Boost too, you don't have to do it alone.
Right.
We have had clubs very successfully do dual boosts. So two clubs. I'm going to take Noblesville, Indiana, for example. They did a boost. One is a breakfast club, one is a noon club. They obviously both have different projects. So over the course of this, each club received new members out of this, because the prospective members were able to choose which club. We are doing with a couple districts division-wide boost. So that's 6 more clubs working together possibly. So it becomes a lot larger of an event. But again, all those prospective members, if your clubs are in a concentrated area, and I know that this is not really the case in a lot of divisions, but if they are, prospective members may have a choice of 2 or 3 clubs that meet within a short driving distance.
Right. Yeah, it's always helpful to know where your other clubs in the region
Yes.
or the area meet, right? Because you never know when someone else is like, hey, I really can't do Monday at lunch, but I can do Tuesday breakfast. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
perfect. You got the right group for you.
And I always say you don't have to grow your own club.
Right.
You just want to grow Kiwanis. So
That's
when
right.
I was the lieutenant governor, I did not bring any members into my own club, but I brought in a lot of members to other clubs, because I would meet people and they were really interested in Kiwanis, and I'd be like, our club's not for you. You need to go check out XYZ club. And they did, and they became members.
Treasure hunt, right? Is the 41st.
We just did an open house in Clarksville, Indiana, a couple of weeks ago, and we added 3 members to a club of 10. So that's nearly 25-30% there.
That's great.
Right.
It's an open house.
It's just a matter of it doesn't matter where, right? Just help everybody out. I mean, we're all in it for the same reason.
That's right.
I mean, help each other out. I've done that just even with being with the traveling that I do for work. I'll run into someone and I'll have my Kiwanis stuff on. They're like, oh, tell me about that. And so I'll like take their name and send it to the district and say, hey, this person, Chris Martz is interested in Kiwanis. Can you follow up with him? Just like the emails that come through, the names that come through the club search. Okay, so Chris, I will let you connect with John. There's a note in there about looking to start a virtual internet club for members or individuals who have had strokes and their support teams.
Great. Not great about stroke. Sorry. We are always looking for new ways to open Kiwanis clubs.
Right.
And so I'm going to give a little plug, because I absolutely love this idea. And I posted it last night on my Facebook page. But our Kansas district is opening a virtual club for people who live the RV life.
Yep.
Yes, RV, recreational vehicles. And I think that is one of the most awesome clubs that we could have. But we have clubs for ESL, English as a second language. We have literacy clubs. We have safety clubs. We have a gun safety club. It does not have that in the name, but that is their main mission in their community. We can open a Kiwanis club around anything. And you have a mission as well.
Right. John, I'm guessing that Chris Martz can get access to your number and email.
Yep.
Probably like everybody else that's on here. All right. Any other questions or thoughts tonight? Helpful? Okay, we got some head shaking, got some applause. I know I'll be printing off the program tonight.
I would like to leave you with one last thing. So
Go for it.
some of you probably heard 20 things that you were excited about tonight. You can't do all 20. Okay. So choose 2 or 3 even.
Yep.
Narrow it down. What's going to be best for your club for the next, 3 to 6 months to do, and work on those. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't think that if you heard 15, 20 great things that you have to do all of those things.
And know that it's okay to give someone else some work. You don't have to do it all yourself. Find someone else in your club that may be able to help you, just do part of it. May be able to do the research on the demographics, may be able to do, help identify former members, maybe able to find the location for your event. There's a lot of things there that can be done along the way. So Chris, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, I know we talked before about doing, podcasts and server events, but I think there's so much information here that we'll get it out, and I'll figure out a way. If we need to divide it up, we'll divide it up. If not, we'll take it from there. So just to give everybody an update of what's going on next week, Lindsay will be with us to talk about the workshops and the education programs that Kiwanis is going to offer at the International Convention in Denver. So if you're interested to find out what kind of workshops are going to be happen there, you will be able to see her or listen to her talk about what's happening in Denver. On the 16th, I have a presentation on leadership lessons from the silver screen, movie clips that teach leadership lessons. So I will bring that on the 16th. On May 23rd, Paul Palazzolo and Diana O'Brien will talk about the amendments and everything that's going to happen at the House of Delegates on the 23rd. So I'm not going to say that that'll be limited to an hour program. If it goes over, we're going to let it go over, but that's an opportunity for you to find out how the House of Delegates is going to operate and answer any other questions. For those of you that were with us when we did a review of the amendments, we did catch some glitches in there. And if you go back to the amendments on the Kiwanis.org convention page, those corrections have been made on the amendment pages to show that they were updated. So the stuff that we picked up on that day was there. May 30th, unfortunately, we won't meet on May 30th. I'll give you that day off to give you time to go back and watch all these videos you've missed. I will be in Boston, making a presentation to the American College of Sports Medicine for the research on my Sparty program. So I'm going to be there. And then on June 6th, I've booked Will Tiemann, who is the voice of the Spartan Sports. So he will come in and talk about the announcing that he does for the men's basketball team and the events that he does and working with the coaches here at the university. So we're booked through there. And then I've got 3 other ones that I'm just waiting on confirmation, and I'll let you know what those are. But all this will go on the Facebook page. And if you've got any suggestions, I've got a couple suggestions that I'm reaching out to some other people. We'd love to have them join us. We look for the Thursday nights, 8:00 Eastern time, for 45 minutes to an hour, and we'll go from there. So anybody have any last questions? Any thoughts?
I just put in the chat, those of you who may have known Amphi Lynn,
Yeah.
she passed away a couple of days ago. They're having a memorial service. They've invited the world to come participate. I just put the Zoom link in.
Okay.
And you'll have to, I think it's like 6:00 Central Time, 7:00 Eastern.
Right. And then I see we're going to have a virtual event for the 55th anniversary of the New Zealand South Pacific virtual meeting. So there's a great opportunity there for us to connect with our friends there. So, all right.
People, you put them in. So,
all right. With that, I'm gonna call it a night. Well, it's 9:01 Eastern time. Give everybody the rest of the evening to go. I don't want to say this. Don't crash the website. But let's see how many people are out there looking for all that information, right? Because I don't want them to call me and go, "Sue, you crashed the website," and I'd say, "Oh, sorry." I'd be happy to see that happen, right? Chris would be like, hey, if they're going after membership information, let them have it. So, all right, thanks everybody. We'll see you next Thursday night. Have a great week. Bye.